Using your 19mm socket, go ahead and remove the lug nuts. And go ahead and grab the wheel and set that aside. Okay. Using a 10mm socket, we're going to go ahead and undo this clamp here for the brake line. Using a 17mm socket, we're going to go ahead and remove this bolt here and this bolt right here for the caliper bracket. All right, once you get these loose, you want to hold on to that caliper, remove the bolts, slide the caliper and the bracket off. You want to set this up with the caliper tool here to hang this up out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and remove the rotor, set that aside. All right, we're going to use this punch right here to release that notch in the spindle nut. Just going to open that up. Using a 30mm 12-point socket, we're going to remove the axle nut. I'm going to go ahead and release this little clip from the strut for the ABS wire. Using a little pry tool, you can get up underneath and just pop that out. I'm going to go ahead and remove this ABS sensor. Use a 10mm socket. I'm going to go ahead and remove the bolt and then pull that sensor out. Using a 22mm socket and wrench, we're going to go ahead and remove these. Give these bolts a little bonk and work those bolts out there. All right, I want to go ahead and make sure that the CV axle is loose in the hub. Push that in and go ahead and work the strut loose from the knuckle. Go ahead and work this free. You should be able to work that CV axle out to the back of the knuckle. Now we're going to go ahead and pull the CV axle out from the transaxle. Using a pry bar, we're going to go ahead and get right behind the CV axle right here and gently pry it out just to pop that out. Okay, make sure you have a catch can ready. You might lose a little fluid. Go ahead and remove that CV axle. once you get the axle in, you want to make sure that the splines line up. You can use a pry bar and get that in there and just kind of tap this. You want to go ahead and set that axle. And then we'll go ahead and push that in the rest of the way. With the axle seated in the transaxle, we're now going to go ahead and set this here so we can get that axle through. At the same time, line it up with your strut. Once the bolts are in, install the nuts. I'm going to go ahead and torque down these knuckle to strut bolts to 214 foot-pounds. Do that for both. We're going to go ahead and get that ABS clamp put on there and feed the bolt through, put the nut on the back side. Just snug that down. Next, insert your ABS clip into the base of the strut and then feed this around and put this into the wheel hub. I'm going to go ahead and install the bolt for the ABS sensor. Go ahead and get that started and bottom that out. 75 inch-pounds for this bracket here. All right, we're just going to go ahead and just snug down the ABS into the hub. Don't want to over tighten it, just snug it so it holds it in place. Install the rotor. Go ahead and grab the caliper bracket. Be careful not to drop it. Line that up. I want to go ahead and get these bolts started on the caliper bracket, get the top one started, and then reach around to the other side on the bottom and get that started a few threads. I'm going to go ahead and bottom these bolts out, the top one and the bottom one, and then we'll go ahead and torque those. I'm going to go ahead and torque down the caliper brackets to 79 foot-pounds. And repeat for the bottom bolt. I'm going to go ahead and install this bracket here. It's a bolt with a nut on the back side. I'm just going to go ahead and grab the axle nut, get that threaded on. And spin that down. I'm going to spin these on here. What we're going to do is we're going to use a torque wrench and we're going to tighten this axle nut to 217 foot-pounds. I'm going to use a pry bar here. rotate the hub. I'm going to go ahead and dimple the nut. Good, install the wheel. And go ahead and torque the wheels down to 76 foot-pounds.